Mm-hmm. 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 Let's go.
Welcome back, traders.
I'll wake up to it.
GME absolutely going crazy in the after hours market right now. Up, 2.4% in after hours trading, and it was just 4%. I promise. Seeing some rapid price action in after hours trading, while the entire market reacts to some pretty big news from President Trump canceling EU tariffs and announcing framework for Greenland deal. So this is pretty tremendous when you talk about market volatility. And what you're seeing in the markets is another all-time high from IWM coming in at near record volumes, the most since November of 2025, November 21st to be exact. And what I wanted to cover today was specifically the kind of stepping stone situation in which GME could find a breakout here if you're able to cross 2268. Now, why is that a significant thing? You are only, look at the price just move after hours. You are only 30 cents away from that trend line. So I expect the volatility to step up here if you are going to see a breakout. Now, I've outlined a situation here of you now have this uptrend established that can allow as a stepping stone formation if you do see a pullback from this. Now, if you break this trend line, right, very, very possible. But if you break this trend line, you're going down to that $19 level and the belly of the beast like we've been saying on GameStop. However, you have some things going in your favor. You have this doji close and you have this pop after hours. So when GME runs, it is just historically proven after hours is just when it happens. I couldn't tell you why. Probably some kind of manipulation game, options repricing, whatever you want to say. But you have two volume bars in a row of green volume ramping up here, and you're having some pretty explosive things happen in the after hours. You have the 9-day EMA coming and curling up, which inevitably will curl above the 50. Now, when this happens, guys, when this happens, typically you see your strongest moves from this kind of price action. I'll show you an example. The curl down, 3%, right? But let's look for a positive example. On the cross, you saw 3%, 1%, and that was kind of the pop in this run. Now, it shows that the short-term trend is more prevalent than the long to medium-term trend. And so what I'm watching for on GameStop is if you could see this move in after hours hold, right, whether or not you come to fill the gap that you've created down here at, what is this, 21.25, or the one that you're going to leave tomorrow if you hold this move in after hours. I think there's a realistic scenario where you come up from this, create a higher high, and then peel back to this trend line. And what that does, right, is you then have this 3 rising valleys formation. And that is one of your most bullish continuation patterns in the freaking market. When you look at a bullish continuation pattern, you want to see an intact trend line. And holy Toledo, 2257. This thing is going crazy. All right. You want to see 3 rising values formations. What is that? That is 3 higher lows and 3 higher highs. You have the opportunity to do that here. 1, 2, potentially here, right? You're already upwards of 2257, which is right smack dab at that trend line. If you peel back here, fill these gaps, you have the opportunity to ride this thing, break out of the falling wedge, and tap your 200-day EMA. Now, what I liked from a technically confluent standpoint here in terms of taking a trade is you have your previous uptrend of support that will pretty much match your 200-day EMA coming 5-6 days from now as this purple line continues to flatten out, right? You're going to have this uptrend meet this 200-day EMA. And once that happens, guys, I think that allows for a smack dab reversal to retest your falling wedge and then break higher. Now, this is the scenario that we went over yesterday that is very, very possible and a big possibility because of the Ryan Cohen purchasing of $500,000 shares, which is insane. But you can see how the price, $22.75. Oh my goodness. Come on. And you can see that GameStop is absolutely ripping ass right now. With the 200-day EMA sitting at 23.27. So if this thing is going to break out right now, you are going to find that as resistance at 23.27, seeing as though you are up 5% in after hours. This is starting to get a little crazy. But I wanted to cover, and then we'll get back into GME, I promise. IWM with a smack dab all-time high again. And like we talked about, you found some beautiful bounce off of this 9-day daily EMA with that inverted hammer candlestick. Now, I thought would be much harder to do, but I guess not. Bears got cooked today. Let's pull up SPY. Because not only have you outperformed the S&P 500 again, but I really, really thought you were going to continue to see this dump and then fill the gap. What you might be doing on SPY is you might be filling this gap and then dumping. So be careful for the broader market. But one thing is for sure that IWM still cooking like crazy at all-time highs here with very, very nice volume. So I expect our thesis to continue to play out here as IWM begins to get a little bit more volatile. And you can see, right, based off our thesis, you saw the flat break of the neckline, the retest of it, and you're now seeing that bounce upwards of $300 on IWM, which is that flat top resistance from the previous all-time high. So whether or not you hit it this month, next month, doesn't matter. I do anticipate you're going to hit that mark, which bodes well, genuinely, now seeing Amy up in after hours for the risk on assets. It makes it a lot easier for the suppression games to not happen, right? You want to see anyone short these stocks get absolutely massacred, and that is the easiest situation for that to happen, right? Let's take a quick look at the Fentel data because I've not done that in a day or two, and I want to see, I know last time we tried it gave me an error, so I want to see what we're looking like on GME and AMC. GME short interest. Let's see. You're sitting at 15.38 days to cover. So that is not a bad thing that has gone down. That is because the volume is beginning to ramp up. And as we see that trend continue, that will happen. But what has not happened is your short interest has not moved. So the fact that you are going higher and your short interest is remaining stagnant is mildly encouraging for a squeeze scenario, right? Because as this price becomes to get more and more uncontrollable, you will see someone exit the stock short. And when that happens, guys, you're going to see buying pressure and volume go a little nutty if that is allowed to happen, right? But you're currently sitting at 22.73 here on GME, and it is a beautiful, beautiful day in the after hours trading. But besides for that, let's see. I just wanted to go over the fear and greed index, but then crazy stuff started to happen. You're still sitting in extreme fear on crypto, very strange, and then neutral on the stock market. So pretty much running it neutral, like we talked about. Greenland deal possible, which is shocking. Very, very, very shocking. We might be able to fly in to Greenland with our passports. Let's see. So on GME, weekly time frame, very, very nice candle, and you are starting to see your weekly MACD cross up for the first time. I know we had a couple flirts, right? We had one here on mid-December, and we had one here in early December, but you are finally seeing that MACD begin to curl up. So if that is of any sign, right, and you do find that stair-stepping breakout, which would be a good sign here on GME. This is what you want to see. You want to see the MACD continue to curl up here and the bullish momentum spill into the stock. That is genuinely step one. That is a positive sign for GameStop that you're going to see this begin to rise back up to the 200-day EMA with the 50 sitting at 23.23 on GME. So something to watch. Your monthly candlestick. Lower volume in perspective, but still a green candle. And then your quarterly time frame. You could see how many times you flirted with this quarterly cross on the MACD. AMC's is a little bit more clear to me, and we're going to jump into that now, so bear with me here. Quarterly MACD, so close. So once you see this flip, guys, I'm going to become much more bullish on the stock, seeing as the last time you had that flip, that macro cross, you ran 400% and 455%, and just how much you've been suppressed here on Amy, that once you see that, you will be cooking. On the monthly time frame, you're printing a doji off of a ramp up of green volume, which is a good look, genuinely, seeing as though you are only 21 days in the month and you already printed more volume than the previous. So if you can see this print as a bullish hammer candle, guys, that is a contestant for a potential bottom on AMC. As you can see, a high volume bullish hammer candle on the monthly macro of the chart would look fantastic. Absolutely phenomenal. Your green on the week printing a inverted hammer candlestick. And then the daily time frame, we talked about being in this wedge formation. Now you began to break out of that, but you've since scaled back. You printed an inverted hammer candlestick, very similar to IWM yesterday, but it was on very high volume. In fact, more than the last 6 days of trading, going all the way back to the 12th of January. So if you want to see this bullish momentum continue and aspire for these higher price actions, you need to see AMC kind of follow GameStop, which it already is, right? Up 1.5% in after hours at $63.63. So you're on the cusp of breaking this micro falling wedge, and that's a bullish sign. That's genuinely good, right? On the 4 hour, looks like you're kind of grinding beneath your previous uptrend or just breaking back above, which is good, right? Break beneath, and you begin to break back above with the 9-day crossing above the 50 on the 4 hour. That is good for short-term bullish momentum. So we'll be watching that as well. Let's see. See what the Bollinger Bands are doing on GameStop. And to nobody's surprise, they're expanding. But on the daily time frame, on the daily time frame, guys. So this paints a picture. You had a squeeze on the daily Bollinger Bands that we had not talked about yesterday. You closed after wicking off of the top band, and you are now outside of the band, currently at 2169 in the post market now, or 2269 in the post market, which is significant, right? Because you're going to open up beneath those or above those bands, and typically almost all of the price action that happens within the stock happens within these Bollinger Bands. So do not be surprised, do not be fearful if we come up here in after hours, tap 2281, and then 8:30, whatever it is for you guys, 9:30 in the stock market, you see this thing kind of bleed back down inside of these Bollinger Bands as they begin to expand on the daily time frame. Something like this reminds me very much of where we are today. You can see after hours, you freaking gap up, you squeeze up like crazy, and then you bleed back inside, you close strong, and then you ride the worm, right? That is what I'm expecting for GameStop here. And there are some encouraging signals, genuinely. The volume, the MACD, and now the RSI, guys. You can see you're back above the 50 line on the GME RSI for the first time since the middle of December. And this is huge because I always like to depict this for you guys. Think of your RSI midline as a highway, right? This is your checkered lane on the highway. And when you're in the right lane, God, is it slow? You're trying to get around people. It's depressing. But as soon as you get to that left lane, you're flying high. You're running fast, right? Volatility picks up, and that's where we are right now. So I'm grateful to be in this situation with GameStop. I am, in entire honesty, kind of surprised that you're seeing this, but not really at the same time because of things like the Ryan Cohen pickup of shares, what he did. So all this to say, guys, God bless each and every single one of you. I appreciate you. I love you. And remember, the best is yet to come. Let's go. Go GME. We may live stream some here in the next couple of days because I want to give you guys a little bit more personable videos, right? I want to have the ability to answer you guys' questions live and to be able to kind of just shoot the you-know-what with you, right? Because there's a lot of people that go into these videos and a lot of people who support them. So I'm thankful. I'm grateful. And let's keep this train chugging along. Peace. Woo! I'm so excited, man.